Welcome to the Miami Heat Zone podcast. I'm your host, Martel Llewellyn. We're pushing to 5,000 subscribers. Hit that subscribe button, and thank you for all the support. So today we have David from Dave's Doghouse. David, let the people know where can they find you on YouTube, and just kind of tell the people what your YouTube channel is about.
All right, so you can actually find me on YouTube at Dave's Doghouse. That is my personal sports page. I just do highlights and lowlights for people in sports. And then you can also find me on Refuse to Lose Sports. That's Refuse the number 2 Lose Sports. We basically talk about everything. It's kind of like First Things First. If you ever watch First Things First and Undisputed, and First Take is kind of sort of like that. So we just talk about any and everything, honestly. WNBA, hockey, doesn't matter. Just as long as it's sports related, we talk about it.
Guys, so make sure that you guys go to his channel, hit that subscribe button, and make sure that you guys go over to his channel and support. So today we're going to be talking about the Miami Heat. There's a lot of stuff going on right now. There's a lot of people that don't like Tyler Hero. Terry Rozier just said that they're pretty much running it back. The Miami Heat organization likes their team. Then there was the whole Jimmy Butler contract extension. So first, do you think going forward that we should give Jimmy Butler that 1-year extension? Because, he is getting older. He kind of does troll during the regular season, which, don't get me wrong, I think that Jimmy Butler has been great for the Miami organization. He's done a lot in terms of, when you look across the NBA, all these other, teams have stacked up teams. The Clippers, the Phoenix Suns, but Jimmy Butler has been able to do more with less. So what do you think about paying Jimmy Butler going forward?
I think he deserves it. If you look at what he's done for this team, no one thought that we would even make it out of the first round when we first acquired Jimmy Butler that summer. They said that he would be lucky to get into the playoffs. Maybe he might be a 7-4 AC. And he's taken us to the finals twice on his back. And then not even that, it's been injuries that's happened throughout the playoffs to allow us to not even be healthy when we get to the finals. Remember when we got to the finals in the bubble, Dragic and Bam both get hurt in the same thing. So there was nothing. He pretty much had to do everything he could just to force the game 6. Then you look at what he was able to do the year, not the following year, because then that was the COVID riddled year, and everyone was pretty much injured or had COVID, so we got bounced in the first round. But right after that, we go get PJ Tucker in the offseason, which wasn't really a huge signing. But I saw that I knew for a fact that we were going to be a top 4 seed just because of what he brings on defense and rebounding. And we became the number 1 seed. And we're a 3-point shot away from Jimmy Butler from making to the finals again. Then you go last year, we're the first play-in team to make it all the way to the NBA Finals, beating the number 1 team, the number 1 and the number 2 seed in the same playoffs. And we were up 3-0 against Boston in the Eastern Conference Finals, and then of course they came back, and we still eventually won in Game 7. And it was because Jimmy Butler went crazy in the playoffs. If you look at what happened against Milwaukee, he was the reason why we beat Milwaukee. If you look at what happened in Boston, it was mainly him, and you could throw Caleb Martin in there as well. But Jimmy Butler has been the guy, and no one considers him as a superstar. So you got a guy who's not considered a superstar, who's not really an all-star. He's been an all-star before, but not a lot of people look at him like that because he doesn't have crazy numbers in the regular season. But if you look at what he does in the postseason, he becomes superstar Jimmy, or as they say, playoff Jimmy. So I think he deserves a contract. I understand what Pat Riley said about him not being available the last 2 seasons, but I mean, can he really control his injury? Is that something that he did himself? No, it's something that happened on the court. And
well, the only thing, not to cut you off, but the only thing that I don't like about Jimmy Butler sometimes is just that, because how are you going to miss the 3rd game of the regular season? You know what I mean? And it's just I don't need Jimmy Butler to play the whole 82-game season. I don't. But just give me 65 games where you're trying. But you can't play 60 games and then troll through 10 of them where, you kind of look disengaged. He only puts up 8 shots, not really playing on the defensive end. We're paying you $50 million. You know what I mean? So that's really my only gripe about Jimmy. Whatever games he plays, can he try? That's it.
Yeah, I mean, I get that too. Jimmy is kind of like who can I compare him to? Because there are people that don't take it serious in It's kind of like how LeBron, not exactly like LeBron, because LeBron is serious no matter what. But if you look how LeBron does, he always says he turns up a different mode when it gets to certain months of the year. Jimmy Butler pretty much does the same thing. It's just that Jimmy Butler is not LeBron James. Um, and LeBron is going to do more for his team because he know he it's LeBron. He's the chosen one. You know, they called him the king and all that. So he had a lot that came with him, and that's pretty much what he's been since he's been in the league. Just about. Now he took another leap once he came to Miami and won his first championship. But LeBron has pretty much been LeBron his whole career. And Jimmy Butler is just his own kind of guy, and I'm honestly not mad at that. I do agree. I would like for him to take it a lot more seriously in the regular season, just because it will put us in better position. Because if you look the last 2 years, I feel like if we took it a little bit more seriously, um, that we would have at least been a 5 or a 6 seed and not have to worry about being in the play-in. So I do agree with you on that part. But honestly, without Jimmy, where would we really be? We probably wouldn't even make the playoffs if it wasn't for Jimmy Butler. Because if you look at the teams, how the teams was going before he got there, we were struggling just to get there. And with Jimmy, we struggled the last 2 years, but that's because of injury and because Jimmy just I don't know he just turns it on in the second half. But other than that, he's done whatever he needed to do to get us in the playoffs. I mean, we were the AC the last 2 years, but before then we were nothing lower than the 50. So
So going forward now, let's just say, we keep Jimmy Butler, but then maybe we're about a fifth or a sixth seed. Now, this is the thing, like with the Miami Heat. There's a lot of players like Caleb Martin, Max Strus, Gabe Vincent, who've pretty much walked away, and the Miami Heat were not able to recoup assets. And there's a lot of Miami Heat fans that, they're willing to trade Jimmy Butler in terms of, right now we have a very high payroll. I know a lot of people call Mickey Arison cheap. The problem is he's not cheap. I just think that we're not paying the right combination of guys in terms of, Bam, he just signed his extension. You have
mhm,
Jimmy Butler, he's on he's on a big deal right now. You have Tyler Hero, you have Terry Rozier, you have
mhm,
Duncan Robinson. So
mhm,
our payroll is pretty much almost maxed out in terms of we really can't make significant moves unless you
mhm,
trade maybe Tyler and Duncan, and then maybe now we can move around some pieces. So
mhm.
how do you feel about trading Jimmy Butler? Let's say we have a season. How do you feel about trading Jimmy Butler? Because I think this organization is going young, but they're not going to tell us that because they got to put butts in seats. But think about it. You have Jaime Jaquez Jr.,
Mhm.
Nikola Jovic, that I don't think that Pat Riley's going to just trade. He said that he's really only going to make a trade like that for 3 players. I'm sure those 3 players are maybe Giannis or whoever they might be. So that means that they're not trading their young guys for a marginal move. Maybe Tyler
Mhm.
Hero. But what do you think about possibly trading Jimmy Butler going forward? Just so that, God forbid, they don't want to give him the extension, he doesn't just walk away for nothing. And at least we can recoup some assets, maybe get another young player to join the Miami Heat with Bam Adebayo and Khalil Ware and Tyler Hero and Jaime Jovic going forward.
See, I haven't given that too much thought because I've always been in the mindset that Jimmy Butler wants to stay in Miami. He said that multiple times, even during this contract dispute. He said he still wants to stay in Miami. So that's kind of where my thought has gone with that. But if we do trade Jimmy, what are we going to get for him? That's what I want to know.
We have to
Because
at least get 2 to 3 picks because if Mikal Bridges got five first round picks for him, I mean, we can at least get 3 for Jimmy and possibly a Kaminga type young player, somebody to pair with our young core.
But is that going to be guaranteed though? That's the thing. There's a lot of players that love Bam, but is Bam that guy to carry a team outside of Jimmy Butler not being there?
I think he can to a degree. So what I mean by that is we have not seen a maximized Bam Adebayo. And this is why, like, I feel like, which my other question is, do you think the Miami Heat gave Jimmy Butler enough help? Because think about it, Bam has been playing the center at 6'9" with a 6'5" power forward, and his backup center was really not the type of guy to that you can leave him on the floor for 10 to 15 minutes so that Bam can get a breather
Mm-hmm.
you know? So I think he can maybe be a number 2 option, but we really haven't seen a maximized Bam Adebayo. I mean, he just now started shooting threes.
Yeah, that's true.
So my next question
Um,
is: do you think that they got Jimmy Butler help?
do I think they've helped him out since he's been here? No, I don't think so. I don't think they've given him much to work with, honestly. Um, the Miami Heat is known as a culture known for being able to get players to play at their best potential. Because if you look at players like I don't want to say Eddie Jones because Eddie Jones was good when he was with the Lakers too, but he came to us in the later years and he was still able to look at Rashul Butler, Karan Butler. Look at there's a lot of guys that came to Miami and they played better than what they should have. Udonis Haslam was not, he wasn't a high player, but he played high minutes and it was key for this team. That's why he's Mr. 305. He's Mr. Miami Heat. Um, Look at Birdman. Birdman wasn't what he was with Denver. He came to Miami. He was a whole new player. So we have that history of being able to do that with certain players. But when it comes to what we've had so far, it's not enough because we've never had the size to go against other elite players, and we never had like the scoring that we needed. Most of the scoring came from Jimmy Butler. So if you take away Jimmy, that takes away the scoring. Um, Tyler Hero has had one postseason where he was awesome, and that was the bubble. Everything else was pretty much middle subpar. That's not to say that Tyler Hero is not a scorer and that he's not capable of that. We just haven't seen it since then. Even if you look at 2 years ago when we were the number one seed, Tyler Hero wasn't necessarily a highlight. It was more so Jimmy going crazy. And then we had PJ Tucker that was just making a lot of hustle plays, and then Bam playing great defense that he always does. Um, but if you look at if we name all the players that are surrounding him, what have they done since they left? Gabe Vincent, I mean, he was pretty much hurt the entire time when he was with the Lakers. You look at Max Strus, they got to the playoffs, but Max Strus wasn't a huge deal. He had a couple of great games this season, but Max Strus was Max Strus. He's been inconsistent, honestly. If you look at Kelly Olynyk was here and he wasn't much of anything when he left. You look at now you got Omer Yurtseven, who was here, who came off the bench. He didn't even really get big minutes and went somewhere else and pretty much still not getting that opportunity. We've had a bunch of undrafted players or players that were drafted that didn't fit what Jimmy Butler can necessarily bring to the table. So I don't think we've had a lot of help, and I feel like if you go back to the contracts, I feel like we've spent money where we shouldn't have spent money at. Because remember when Duncan got that $90 million contract, I was like, why are we giving Duncan a $90 million contract? He hasn't really done much of anything. He
So
hasn't.
quick, so quick.
It was so fast, and then it's like he didn't become an all-star. He wasn't. It was nothing he really did to say that he deserved it. Now Tyler Hero, he got his contract because he was sixth man of the year. Once he got sixth man of the year, that's when he got that contract. I was like, okay, I guess, but I still feel like that was a little bit too soon to give him that.
Yeah.
Bam has been consistent at being at least in the defensive player of the year conversation, and he's been on all team defense all 5 years. He's been in the league, so he's been in that conversation. So Bam, I'm fine with Bam getting his contract. Jimmy got his contract when he signed here, so I mean, it was either get Jimmy or not have anybody because we pretty much weren't going to attract anyone. And then you look at all the players we were supposed to get. Remember when LaMarcus Aldridge was a free agent? We never got the opportunity to get him because Pat Riley said, go play somewhere for a year and come back here. That didn't work out. Kevin Durant wanted to come here. Didn't happen. Kyrie Irving wanted to come here last year, and we didn't even think about going to trade for him. So we had that. Then you look at the trade deadline last year. Not last year, but the year before, with Kyle Lowry, when we had a chance to trade Kyle Lowry and get 2 picks.
But who you think? But whose fault is that though?
That's Pat Riley's fault.
But look, this is my biggest beef because a lot of people say, oh well, they never got Jimmy Butler help. They never wanted Kyle Lowry like that. They got Kyle Lowry to appease their star in Jimmy Butler. And like another question is, do you think that Jimmy Butler held Kyle Lowry accountable? Because I don't think so. He was beefing with Pat and Spo about getting in shape. You chose to come to the Miami Heat. You knew what the Miami Heat was about.
Exactly. You have to be in shape.
You were out of shape and overweight your whole career. Cool. Mm-hmm. But how are you going to come here and not even attempt and they're paying you top. They gave you $90 million. They didn't even want to give him that money. They
Exactly.
did that to appease Jimmy Butler. And I don't know, like, if you remember, Jimmy Butler went to the podium and he said, Kyle Lowry ain't going nowhere. He whispered it under his breath.
Yeah.
So a lot of people might say, oh, well, they never got Jimmy Butler help. They did. Technically, they did. Kyle Lowry was supposed to be our Drew Holiday. What Drew Holiday was for the Milwaukee Bucks, not to the same degree, but he was supposed to be the last connecting piece. Tyler, Jimmy, Bam, and Kyle. That he was supposed to be our point guard, and
see. I guess for me, since I'm a huge basketball fan, I never saw Kyle Lowry in that light.
Me either. He's
I never
fraudulent
saw
before
him.
Kawhi got there.
I saw him as a piece to help a little bit, but not as a piece that moves the needle to become a championship team. I never saw that. I thought when we got him, he would come over and kind of be like that mentorship leadership role for Tyler, and Tyler would come in that role and be the point guard that we needed. But as we see, Tyler Hero's not necessarily the point. He's a shooting guard, and I think for me, it's not that I don't like Tyler Hero. I love Tyler. I think Tyler deserves to be Miami Heat for the rest of his career. My whole gripe with Tyler is when he tries to put himself in that conversation with Trae Young and Luka, and I'm like, Tyler, you're good, but you're not that good. Like, you're good. Don't get me wrong. You were the sixth man of the year. You proved that you are a scorer. We know what a difference you can make.
But those guys lead their team.
Exactly. Those guys lead their team, and Trae Young himself took his team to the Eastern Conference Finals when no one thought the Hawks had an opportunity to do that, and he did that himself. And he's shorter than Steph, and he's done that. Like, you gotta pump your brakes a little bit, Tyler. We want you here, but it's more so about defining your role. Are you going to be the starting shooting guard, or are you going to be the sixth man? Because for me, I feel like he plays his best role coming off the bench. That's just me. I feel like he plays a lot better helping out the second unit and being the guy off the second unit, not being that guy in the starting lineup.
All right, and now before we close, like, I see a lot of people now saying, "Oh, well, the Miami Heat, all we have to do is be healthy," which we've never been. But they're saying that we have four, 20-point per game scorers: Terry, Jimmy, Bam, Tyler. How do we stack up in the Eastern Conference? Because a lot of people don't understand. I get it. Injuries can happen, chemistry problems with other teams, but let's just go off the paper alone. I think we have a good team. I mean, you know what I mean? Like, hoping and wishing and praying that everyone stays healthy throughout the whole season is very tough, and especially during crucial parts of the season. So what I mean by that is we can't afford to start out 8-8. We can't afford to start out like that, like in the Eastern Conference where, you have the Milwaukee Bucks coming back stronger because Dame and Giannis have something to prove. The Celtics, they're not going anywhere. The 76ers, they just added Paul George.
Mm-hmm.
The New York Knicks, they're loaded on the defensive end with, they have OG now, they have Mikal Bridges.
Mm-hmm.
I think that Jalen Brunson is a dog for what he's able to do. I think he really revived the Knicks franchise by himself, even before, they got all these pieces now.
And he just got a contract where he took $113 million less than what he was going to get next year. So that means
locked in on winning.
He's locked in on winning, and that's the thing. And I guess I kind of know where you're going. Where do I think we fit?
Stack up.
Honestly, I see playing again. I don't see. It's possible we can get to the 5th or 6th seed. It's possible. Don't get me wrong, because I don't think the Cavaliers are that much better. I don't think the Pacers are that much better, and that's no disrespect to them because these are playoff teams. The Pacers got to the Eastern Conference Finals. This is no disrespect at all. It's just I feel like us with Jimmy available. Forget being healthy, because we've shown that we can get there without the team being fully healthy. Because we got to the finals last year with Tyler Hero and Victor Oladipo both not being able to play. So with Jimmy Butler available, I think we always have a chance to be a 5th or a 6th seed. It's just how serious is he going to take the season, and what is everyone else around him going to be able to do? And the thing is, we continue to lose more than we gain, because, like you said, Caleb is gone. DeLon Wright is now gone. He's with the Bucks now, so that improves the Bucks defense, something that they had an issue with last year. Then I mean, Jamal Cain is gone. I don't see that as a big loss, but Jamal Cain is gone. Then you look at all the other guys we lost last year. Gabe Vincent, like I said, Max Struess is gone. We continue to lose more than what we gain. So I love the fact that we got Terry Rozier, and he's a dog, and we know he can be a scorer. So I'm fine with Terry Rozier being the point because I think he is awesome and he can be elite at times. But if I'm being honest, I don't see us getting anything higher than the 6 seed right now. I just don't see it. Um, it's the East has improved too much, and even if it's possible that we get to the Eastern Conference Finals, that means we're going to either meet the Bucks, the Celtics, or the Knicks. And honestly, the team that we have constructed right now is not able to beat them in a 7 game series. Let's just be honest. Jimmy can go crazy against them, but what is everyone else going to do? They may have a game plan where they allow Jimmy to do what he wants, but allow no one else to do anything else. Look at what happened in the finals. They let Luka pretty much do what he want, but everyone else were strapped. Kyrie couldn't make a three in Boston. So we us fully healthy is definitely not a guarantee because it's never happened. It hasn't happened since Jimmy Butler has been there. We've had injuries every single year. And if it's not injuries, it was COVID because we all know how serious COVID was during that time. So I don't see a scenario unless we make some kind of move to get somebody to come to Miami, which we haven't been able to do since Jimmy Butler got here, other than PJ Tucker and Kyle Lowry. I don't see us getting past the 6 seed.
Got you, David. Now, right before we close, where can the people find you on YouTube?
All right. So you can find me at Dave's Doghouse. That's Dave's Dog, the regular, regular way you spell it, Doghouse. That is on YouTube. I do highlights and lowlights of all sports. And then you can find me on Refuse to Lose Sports. That's Refuse, the number 2, Lose Sports. You'll find me on this a green symbol that says Refuse to Lose. So that's where you can find me on YouTube. And my Instagram, I don't know if you can see it, but it's right down there. You can find me on there too.
So, guys, make sure that you guys go to his, to all his YouTube channels, go to his social medias, hit that subscribe button, and thank you guys for all the support.
Appreciate you, Phil.